Are new road bikes getting slower? What happens in a race between the latest 5th generation Cannondale Supersix Evo and the original, which launched over 13 years ago? Well, today we are going to find out. I've been riding a brand new Supersix Evo for the last month, and my review of that bike is now live right here on Just Ride Bikes, link down below, and up there that card floating around above my head. And this, well, you might recognize this bike if you are a regular here on the channel, because this is the original. This is where it all started, the first Evo, when Supersix went Evo. It was lighter, faster, and better than anything that had come before it. But does that still hold true today compared to the latest version of the bike 5 generations later? To understand how much has changed in 13 years, let's go through some of the key differences between old and new. There are some obvious differences between old and new, despite having the same name. Back in 2012, this SRAM red group set, mechanical shifting with rim brakes, was state of the art. And this SRAM red group set is still one of the lightest group sets ever made. Electronic group sets had just arrived on the scene from Shimano, and disc brakes, meanwhile, were a tiny speck on the horizon. So this was a peak of technology back then. The old bike has simple round tubes, external routing with external cables outside of the down tube and only internal through the top tube to the rear brake. A press-fit bottom bracket BB30, which Cannondale pioneered and now phased out on the new bike, which has gone back to a 68mm threaded bottom bracket. A regular straight steering tube, a regular handlebar and stem that you can swap for any you want with no trouble at all. And the seat post is round with an external seat clamp, and a detail we are seeing returning on some modern road bikes. The new bike, meanwhile, if you missed my review of this one, it's a 5th generation and it's lighter than the old version and more aerodynamic too. And AERO has been a big focus really for all road bikes and a Supersix Evo platform over the last few years. So a full internal routing, an AERO one-piece carbon fiber handlebar and stem, full AERO treatment on the fork, the head tube and the down tube, and the seat post is aerodynamic as well with a seat clamp now inside the frame. And the new bike can only be used with an electronic shifting group set. The interest and support for mechanical group sets in the mid to high end range of most bike companies has gone completely, and the 3 big group set players, Campag, Shimano and SRAM here, have really invested and focused their energy and money on electronic shifting group sets. And this is a mid-tier SRAM Force Axis group set with batteries on the front and rear derailleur that can be removed, and of course we have hydraulic disc brakes on this bike. Weight has been a big area of improvement for road bikes for the last century and the last few decades, and generally newer modern bikes are lighter. But is that true with these 2 examples? The original bike weighs just 6.7 kilograms with no pedals fitted, while a new bike is 7.5 kilograms. But it's not an apples to apples comparison, as the old bike has a lighter red group set while a new bike has a mid-range force group set. Back in the day, the lightest possible Evo you could buy, if you had deep pockets, was actually a crazy sub 5 kilogram build with some exotic German parts fitted. While in 2026, the lightest off-the-shelf Evo you can buy right now is a claimed 6.4 kilograms in the climbing spec. So yes, new bikes are heavier than old bikes. But some of the differences are explained by the push for aerodynamics, which wasn't a factor back then. Simple round tubes, all about lightweight and stiffness, while a new bike, as you see, has all these cam tail AERO profiles on the fork, the head tube and the down tube. So it's heavier, yes, but as a result of that wind tunnel shaping. And when Cannondale went full AERO with a Gen 3 Evo a handful of years ago, it saved over 20 watts compared to the traditional round tube design. And the new Gen 5 is more AERO than Gen 4 and Gen 3 and really shows how much AERO has moved and improved in that span of 13 years. But new bikes are more expensive than old bikes, you might say, and in some cases they are, but is that really true? Well, a top-of-the-range Lab 71 Supersix Evo right now is in a region of £12,000, an eye-watering amount of money, while back in 2012, a top-of-the-range Supersix Evo with a SRAM Red group set was about £8,800, and that, in today's money, adjusted for inflation, is actually more money than the new bike here. And on the price, it's definitely worth mentioning that this is a 13-year-old bike, and the Supersix Evo has aged very well, and it's a highly regarded bike for the weight. And you can pick up second-hand bikes, the first gen and the second gen, and even the later disc brake versions for an absolute bargain compared to the price of a new bike. And there are still some good options out there if you want to buy a second-hand Evo like this and have all the trappings of low weight and simplicity this bike offers. The other big difference is tyre clearance. This original bike only has space for a 25mm wide tyre, back when a 23mm wide tyre was your standard go-to race tyre. These are 25s for reference. The new bike, meanwhile, takes space for 32mm wide tyres, and these are a 29 fitted on wide carbon rims. The rims are also wider than they used to be back in the day. They were very narrow back then, with 17 or 19mm internal rim width. Now we're up to 23 and 25mm internal rim width. So wider rims that match the wide tyres, that are very popular right now. So a lap of my test track then. Not a scientific experiment, I know, but a good benchmark. The course measures 11.35 kilometers long, and riding at a controlled average power of 200 watts, maintaining the same position, picking the same lines, and being smooth on the pedals and brakes, and the results are really interesting. Essentially, the old bike is slower than the new bike and slower than other modern aero bikes like the Canyon and the Seeker Spear, which is to be expected. No great surprise, is it really? The other difference that is apparent for riding both bikes side by side on the same course is how different they feel, which is far more subjective. There are some obvious differences, like the ergonomics, the handlebar and the shifters on the old bike versus the new bike. I still think the old shifters are nicer and smaller than the new shifters, but the biggest difference is in how the bikes cope or handle the roads I ride on. Simply put, the new bike is smoother. The benefit of wide tyres at low pressures on wide rims and modern tyre technology means the new bike is far smoother. Yes, the old bike can feel a bit more alert and lively beneath you, but all that unnecessary movement of the bike moving up and down over the bumps in the road, they just slow you down, not helping you actually go faster. As cheesy as it sounds, the new bike is easier to hold speed. It feels easier to ride at high speeds. It feels like there's less effort required to ride at the high speed, and the power meter shows that on my Wahoo computer. But the difference is still surprisingly small. The old bike has aged extremely well and doesn't feel slow. It's still lightweight, it's still stiff, and still very responsive. So a really interesting test. Let me know what you think by dropping a comment down below. So there we go, my comparison of an old faithful road bike that I actually own and raced loads back in 2012 through to 2014, 2015, and still own. Still one of the lightest bikes I actually have in the studio, up against the brand new version of the Supersix Evo, the 5th generation, and arguably the best of this current AERO generation from Gen 3 to Gen 5. I still personally like the look of the old bike, the horizontal top tube and the round tube profiles and external routing, but there's no denying the speed and the comfort and just that ride quality improvement of a new bike, and just how nice disc brakes are and how nice electronic shifting is and how nice that bike is generally. So there we go, a really interesting, fun comparison, and let me know what you think of old versus new. Which will you choose if given the opportunity to own one of these two bikes? And did you own this bike back in the day? Are you tempted by the new Supersix Evo or something else? Love to hear from you as always, so feel free to drop a comment down below. And make sure to watch my full review of this bike right here on Just Ride Bikes by watching the video right up here. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you did, then make sure you are subscribed by hitting the button right there. But that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.